The family of Maryam Naqash Zargaran, also known as Nasim, have been kept uninformed about her situation inside the women's section of the Evin prison. Nasim has been on a hunger strike for the past 10 days. Despite all efforts made by Nasim's family, their telephone calls to the prison clinic and the women's section of this prison have remained unanswered. The family of Farhad Atlasi, a security prisoner, said that he has started a hunger strike because he was chained to the hospital bed after having a heart attack in the prison. The physical condition of Rasul Razavi, an Azeri activist in the central prison of Tabriz, has been reported to be unacceptable. He has lost his ability to walk and speak properly. Despite this, the authorities have continued to ignore his request to be transferred to a medical center. A relative of Ehsan Mazandarani reported that after 20 days of being on a wet hunger strike, this journalist started a dry hunger strike in protest against one of the prison officials who abused him verbally and physically inside the hospital. During this week, 2 experts of the United Nations in Geneva announced a new wave of incitement and hatred against the Baha'i community in the speeches made by various religious authorities, judicial, and political groups of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and announced that this is an expression of intolerance towards religious minorities in Iran. On Sunday the 5th of June 2016, activists from the city of Marivan held a gathering in support of Mohammad Sadiq Kabudvand and Jafar Azimzadeh, 2 prisoners on a hunger strike. This gathering was also held in protest against the lashing sentence of Aghdar mine workers. The lawyer of workers of the Bafour Iron Ore Mining Company said that an imprisonment sentence and flogging has been issued to 9 workers of this mining unit, charged with being involved in the trade union protests of 2014. On Sunday the 6th of June 2016, 2 brothers, Mehdi and Hossein Rajabi, who are talented musicians and filmmakers, introduced themselves to the prison in order to serve their 3 years imprisonment sentence. On Sunday the 6th of June 2016, 2 prisoners charged with causing corruption on earth and rape were hanged in public in the city of Shiraz. On Friday the 3rd of June 2016, 42 men and women, including a female actress and a male immigrant, were arrested in 2 different house parties in Tehran and Alborz province. 2 Afghani citizens accused of rape were hanged in a prison in Tehran. 3 prisoners accused of drug trafficking were hanged in the central prison of Mashhad. Arash Sadeghi, a former student activist who visited the Shahid Muqaddas court of the Evin prison in order to follow up on his summons, was arrested and transferred to branch 4 of the Evin prison in order to serve his previously issued sentence of 19 years imprisonment. Afshin Sohrabzadeh, a political prisoner who suffers from cancer, currently held in prison of Mainab, was beaten by a security guard of the Minab prison called Saleh Barezi. He was then forced to sleep on the floor in the corridor of the prison. Homa Houtfar, a Canadian-Iranian sociocultural and a professor of anthropology at the Concordia University in Montreal, who traveled to Iran for research purposes, was arrested by the Iranian authorities. On the third anniversary of the self-immolation of a number of followers of Yarsan, Majmeh Mashverati, a civil rights activist of the Yarsan faith, once again sent the same letter as he had sent to the Supreme Leader of Iran 14 months ago, and demanded the discrimination against Yarsan followers to be ended. On the third anniversary of the self-immolation of 2 followers of Yarsan, many followers of this path demanded the recognition of this religion in the constitution and law reform. Sukhi Rigi, a web blogger, political activist and a prisoner in the Ahvaz prison, has been imprisoned for the past 8 years. In 2009, during the presidential elections, he was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment on charges of spreading lies and acting against national security. It is worth mentioning that the 20 years imprisonment sentence was one of the longest imprisonment sentences ever issued to a web blogger in Iran. Mohammad Reza Fattahi, a journalist and a blogger, was sentenced to 444 lashes by the Justice Department of the Saveh city. Mohammad Reza was arrested in 2013 on charges of publishing lies and disturbing the public opinion. Karim Maruf Aziz, an elderly prisoner in the Rajai-Shahr prison, was transferred to the hospital due to the deterioration of his physical health. Mohammad Hossein Farhangi, the parliament representative of the city of Tabriz, expressed his concerns about the conditions of the prisons in Iran. Heshmatullah Tabarzadi, a political prisoner who was arrested and transferred to the Evin prison on the 16th of May 2016, is still being kept imprisoned and the situation of his case is unclear.